Wheels. Kind of the finishing touch on this TDI upgrade was getting out of the ridiculous 14-inch wheels and tires that came on this, and that came on all Vanagons. Even in 91, the most modern Vanagon, the most recent one, they were still putting, the geniuses at VW were still putting 14-inch wheels and tires on these things, so really ridiculous. Because you really can't find a decent tire in 14-inch, a load-rated tire that's, really safe and stable on these things. And they just handle like crap with that dinky little tire on them. So yeah, there's a lot of discussion on the internet about that, and what people are doing to get out of those and get into some decent wheels and tires. And this is what I did. These are Audi 17-inch rims, and I believe they came off a 2004 A6. And I don't remember because it was over a year ago. I got these on Craigslist, and I paid $100 for them. Okay, and I just want to point out, with that there were just tons and tons of rims just like this, is takeoff VW and Audi rims, really nice rims for next to nothing, really cheap. The only catch is, tons of them out there, but the only catch is that you have to get the center boards machined out, okay, because they come in, I believe the Audis and VWs come in 57 millimeter, okay, and for a Vanagon they have to be, the spec I was told was 66.56 millimeter. Okay, so that means, yes, you got to go to the machine shop and get them machined, but it's really not that big a deal. They charge, machine shops will charge anywhere from 100 to 150 bucks, and the one I went to took a half a day. I was in and out, big deal. Wasn't a hassle at all, and so really it's no big deal. The next thing is, since you are going bigger, bigger wheels and wider, taller tires and wider tires, there could be issues with rubbing on your suspension components and rubbing on the fenders and such. And what people do, and what I did, is you can space them out, get wheel spacers and space them out. I will say though that Kirk at Northwesty in Seattle just showed me some really sweet rims that he has that go on without spacers. And I don't know what they were, but go talk to him because they're really slick. I think they were 17s. So talk to Kirk at Northwesty in Seattle, and he's got some really cool wheels that just bolt on. Then you do have to deal, if you're going with spacers, you do have to deal with another thing, and that is, obviously since you're spaced out a little bit, you have to have longer studs, okay? Because in the Vanagon they use studs in the back, lug studs in the back, and bolts in the front. Okay, so you got to get longer studs, and you got to put those in, and that's not that bad. And you also have to get different lug nuts, okay, because the seats on these Audi and VW rims have a different seat than the Vanagon, than the stock Vanagon did. Okay, and I believe the Vanagon was a large cone type, and these are a small ball type, so you have to get different lug nuts. Okay, and in the front, you have to get, since it uses lug bolts, you get longer lug bolts, and you get the bolts of the appropriate seat to fit the Audi or VW rims. And you can see there I have a 15 millimeter spacer in the front, and I have a 15 millimeters, or a 22 millimeter spacer in the rear. Okay, a little wider, because from the factory the Vanagons come with a narrower track in the back. The wheels are a bit closer together in the back than they are the front for some reason. And this kind of spaces them out and evens them up, and clears the suspension. And it's not too wide, so it's ridiculous. But it looks pretty sharp. And these are 215 60 17 tires. Okay. And you have to, the trick really is kind of figuring out, how wide a spacer you need, and what size tire will rub and won't rub, and how long a stud you need, and all the stuff, and what offset your wheels are, and things like this. So there's a lot of different factors, and your ride height of your Vanagon, how high is it from here to here, that plays a big part. So there's all these factors that come together. You got to figure those out depending on your own, your own situation, particular situation. What I did, instead of figuring all that out myself, I went to Christopher at T3 Technique, okay, also in Seattle, and that guy is a champ. Okay, I will say he's really tough to get a hold of, so I have to say that. But you got to have patience, because it's really worth it. Once you do finally get a hold of him, he's really nice guy, and he's really knowledgeable, and he makes this process super easy because he's been doing it for so long. All you do is you give him, your ride height, and you give him what wheels you have, because your wheels, are gonna have a code. They'll have some numbers on them. All I did was I gave him those numbers, and told him the ride height of my van, and he just said, "Oh, yep, this is what you need," and he gave me the exact spacers that I need, and all the bolts, the appropriate length, and the lug nuts, and he gave me it all as a complete turnkey package, and I didn't have to do anything. So that's really a great way to go, to talk to Chris. And he also canceled me on my tires you know, he told me, you know, talked with me extensively on what tires I should get. And I ended up, like I said, getting the 215 60 17s. I could have gone 225. I could have gone a little wider and a little taller, apparently, but he said there might be some rubbing issues. So I went with the 215s. I did want to go just as tall as possible on the tires for gearing purposes, you know, to bring my RPMs down and give it longer legs on the highway. So that was the what I was doing with that, why I wanted bigger tires. But yeah, talk to Chris and he'll make that a lot easier for you. I will say that he does sell the stuff that he sells is apparently what I got were HR hardware, H&R hardware, and that stuff you can get yourself. So I was surprised by that. But with his knowledge, I mean, it's really worth it to call him. It makes it, you don't have to do it yourself. I mean, even though he is selling what you can get yourself, it's the knowledge of him putting it together exactly what you need is just priceless. I mean, it's really, he really makes it easy. And also the price is the same. It seems to be really close to, if you know, if you were to go out and source all the stuff yourself, what he sells it to you, the whole package seems to be pretty much what you would spend anyway. So, you know, T3 is really, I think, really the way to go. But yeah, so there it is. I mean, it's just a huge upgrade, I think, for any Vanagon. You know, especially if you have, you know, a TDI like this one or a Subaru, you know, where you have that extra power and that extra speed. It's just, I think there's just no reason not to do it. It's just an enormous upgrade. The handling is huge, a huge boost in, you know, in handling, huge improvement in handling and stability. And, you know, it looks, you can see it looks like $1 million too. That's just a bonus. But, you know, as cheap and easy as it is, you know, if you go through the right sources, you know, there's really no reason not to do it. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, just hit me up, any questions at all. And like I said, I mean, there it is. It's just terrific. So get out of those 14s and get in some bigger rims, and yeah, you'll really be glad you did. I don't know why I took so long to do it myself. I've had this van for like 15 years. I've been driving it with the 14s, and I finally got these, and it's just huge. So yeah, there you go. There's your wheel upgrade.